Yes, over the years, I've felt worthless due to what I went through over that period of time. I felt unwanted. I felt disgraced. Uh, I felt horror many, many times. I've also had the idea of committing suicide. I've had suicide attempts. I've had suicide intents ever since the first time it happened to me when I was 9 years old. In 1979, I was released from the Royal Hospital and I went to stay at a place called McIntyre House, which was run by a preacher. I won't give names. And I was only there 3 nights when the Pacific preacher came in and started to interfere with me in my bed while I was asleep, which woke me up, of course, because I was still under the State Welfare Act. I reported the issue to my welfare worker, who told me that I was lying again, which of course frustrated me a lot. I moved out of there and I started to live on the streets in Hobart. While I was living on the streets in Hobart, I was also receiving a disability support pension, which with that I was able to go to a, a TAFE, which was called Drysdale House. It was a catering service where you actually learn to become a qualified chef, qualified cook, and other things. Well, I paid for my education at that college, TAFE, and I got my certificate and diploma as a fully qualified chef. Um, and at the same time, while I was also getting the pension and I was paying for this, as I said, I was living on the street in Hobart. The Drysdale living on the street until the day of the graduation, when another person that was being graduated informed the instructor that I was living on the street and I'd been living on the street the entire amount of times. That was uh, just before the end of 1979 until uh, 1985 when I graduated. I was living on the streets and doing this training. At the end of my graduation, I was pulled aside and I was spoken to, and they reimbursed me certain amounts of money because they were basically sorry for me, but I didn't take it. So what they did, because I refused to take it, they actually had it put into my bank account without my knowledge at the time. I've been married 3 times. I have 4 children. Uh, all my children are males, boys, and not as one being 46. The next one is 42. No, sorry, 38. Then I have a 23-year-old and I have a 21-year-old. The oldest boy, I did not know about at the time because that was through a relationship when I was a child. I was only 15 at the time. He's a fully qualified pediatrician, pediatric surgeon. That's what he is. And he works in the Darwin General Hospital. In Australia, of course, but he was not born in Australia. He was born in the UK because his father was my teacher back in 1977. And it was his daughter, my teacher's daughter, that I had a relationship with, a 3-week relationship where she became pregnant and had a child. When he found out about it, he quit the job and went back to the UK. That's when my son, first child, was born. I know of my child. He knows me. We do have contact occasionally. But each of my marriages, my 3 marriages that I had, just didn't work out. There was a lot of hostility. There was a lot of unknowns and confusion on my side, basically, not on her side, on my side. I had conflict with my sexuality because of what I went through as a child. I found it very difficult to accept anything. My relationships. Well, my first relationship, marriage, lasted 12 months. My second relationship, or marriage, lasted 7 years. My third relationship, marriage, lasted from 2008 to 2018. But 90% of the time I wasn't with her. Even though we were still married, I wasn't with her a lot of times. In 2015, I decided to seek some advice from counsellors. I did an assessment to help me to decide and figure out about my sexuality. And through that, because of all the confusion of my sexuality, because I had feelings for females, but I also had feelings for males. So it was becoming very confusing for me. And when I did this assessment and everything else that came through, that I was more on the gay side and heterosexual side, bisexual and all that other. I was actually more inclined on the gay side. after finding that out, I specifically came out as gay, but that has still not helped in a lot of ways. I still have issues. I still have feelings of wanting to end my life because at times I get to the stage where I start to remember about what I went through as a child. I've been diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, depression, uh, along with normal health issues. And the reason I'm doing this is so that people get to know me, realise that I went through basically 6 years of hell. No one believed me, no one supported me. I started making further complaints and so forth and so on to different government agencies and that. And finally, in 2016, I eventually got an interview with the board that was investigating sexual abuse in state care, in church care, all that sort of stuff. I had a long interview detailing a lot of what I had gone through, naming the person who was the main cause of it, and naming the second person uh, who they did try to get into court, but they weren't able to take to court. They considered his lawyers and health professionals in Victoria decided that his health was not suitable to be extradited from Victoria to Tasmania to face the charges, so the charges were dropped. The government started a thing called the National Redress Scheme for victims of sexual abuse, physical abuse, and that in-state care, where they would help us by giving us a payment, maybe up to $150,000, or and also accept what had happened. So I did put in the application for this particular scheme. I was asked certain questions in the form. I answered those correctly and honestly, and after a while, I finally got notification that my application was declined, and in that notification that the application was declined, they state that they were not indicating that I was not abused in state care, sexually, mentally, and physically. Uh, just that certain things were not suitable for me to get the National Redress Scheme. I then tried to take it legally through solicitors in Hobart. They then sent me notification after a long period of time, and I mean a long period, over a year. They sent me letters saying that I was a conflict of interest. The first one said it was conflict of interest and that they will refer me to another one. I was referred to another solicitor firm that were doing these sort of things. Uh, their recommendation came back within a week of them receiving notification uh, that my case was a conflict of interest, so I was never able to do anything. The Attorney General in Hobart, she declined to approve me for the National Redress Scheme because she replied for declined it. It was sent to the Commonwealth Attorney General, who just took her word. That was it. Uh, the thing wasn't about anything else. The application I put in was about me being a victim of sexual abuse in state care. Not about anything else, but they didn't consider that as a good enough reason. So my application was closed. I did apply to have it challenged, but no. It is one of the hardest things to have to do is to deal with this sort of thing. I had so much hatred over many, many years. I hated the state government. I hated the welfare department. I hated services that were looking after me that didn't want to hear it. It was so many different things, and I had that much hatred in my system. It was unreal. It is still not being heard, not being dealt with. Um, it's hard for me, even though I'm 61, not being listened to by the councillors, government department, although understanding that this has happened to me and I am dreading what's going to happen. It's just in the last 6, 7 months, I've been getting more feelings of suicidal intent. I haven't acted on it at this stage, but I believe I am going to. And no one's going to care. I can't go out by myself because I'm concerned for my safety. Originally, well, up until 3 years ago when I moved where I am, my weight was 89 to 94 kilos. My weight to date is 71.3 kilos. Uh, I've lost weight. I'm thinner, older, frail, and many other things. But it seems to me that I'm worthless. I'm not worth being around. I'm not worth talking to. I'm not worth anything. I'm used. I feel as though I'm being used by people. But because I can't prove this at this stage, but I feel as though I am, and I get nothing back. Um, uh, I don't know what to do. I don't know who I'm to leave things to. I don't know what I'm going to do. I've got no future plans. I've got nothing. I can't afford to pay for my own funeral. So I'll basically end up with what's in Tasmania is called the Pulpus funeral, which would be basically a cardboard box that I'm placed in, incinerated, and then whatever. Because I'll have no one to go to my funeral, no one to do my stuff to. And as you can see, I have a fair few paintings around. I have a lot of really expensive stuff here that I've had to fight for and get my own myself. I don't know if anybody is actually going to see these videos that I'm putting out or not, but it's something that I thought people I should put down on my YouTube channel explaining things about myself. I'm going to do this on a regular basis, but not to go into the same specific details. There'll be other things that I'll be talking about my life. Like when I was 5, back in 1967, I was hit crossing over zebra crossing at school, from kindergarten to heading home, where I was knocked down by a drunk driver. That time his blood alcohol level was 0.08, which was legal limit, but he was drunk still. And that he worked for the Premier of Tasmania back then. He was the Premier's personal driver. And I never got anything from that either. When he hit me in his vehicle, I was thrown 20 feet up in the air. I came down. I had one of my ears hanging by a thread. I'm wearing hearing aids in my ears. This side of my hearing is totally dead. I can't hear shit. Pardon the expression, I can't hear nothing from this ear. So the hearing aid in this ear picks up anything this side and transfers it over to this hearing aid. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It depends on what it wants to do. But that's something that I'll talk about in my next video. So until now, this is basically what I've had to put up with. Thank you for listening and watching part 2 of my life.